take some time to share out. So, what's coming up for you? How has it been for you engaging the curriculum? What actions are you taking? Fill me in on how it's going for you. And I'm going to adjust my screen, my background. Something's going on. So I'll be listening. But yeah, feel free to share out. Whoever would like to start first, what questions are coming up, just share out what's coming up for you, your experience, and how it's going.
Okay, I'll start first.
Sounds
Um,
good.
I'm a little behind, so I'm trying to catch up. I had a chance to kind of go over and listen to the last call. I had a chance to um, view some of the video, and I'm being well right now. I'm kind of overwhelmed with so much going on with my current job and with some personal things in terms of caring for my mother who is getting older and requires some care and attention. So I'm kind of pulled in a lot of directions, which is part of the reason why I'd like to entertain the prospect of having something that is my own, where I can own my time.
Mm,
This is kind of a prime example of that. And I think I was unable to be on the last call for another personal reason. My father got married in another part of the country. So all of that ties into some of the things that you have alluded to as far as envisioning what your practice is going to, be like and how you want to construct it. And for me, it's carving out time that I need when I need it to address family needs and obligations, just to be more in control of my own time.
mhm.
And I'm in the throes right now. We have moved offices, might move from one building to another building, but I might as well have moved across the country with all that happens with a move. So,
Mm,
so that's going on. New software. Anyway, you know the deal, the drill, and then managing a group of people where I'm trying to help them through all these transitions too. So, getting back to why we're here, I'm finding the information to be helpful. I've been reading some of the comments from others, and that has been helpful. So I'm trying to get back re-engaged, and so I'm committed to this weekend doing just that. So that's where I am.
okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Carl. And yes, it is a lot going on. Everything in divine order, as my cup says. But it is so much happening, and I think these are great testing grounds because I believe everything in divine order. So it doesn't matter what's going on. Vision is so important, and that's why we're here, because we have some vision in our minds about how this could look, how we could operate in this world, making a living, doing something with our time, and it's worth pursuing. And when it's worth pursuing, it's independent of what's going on. And to your point, when we are able to recognize the autonomy we have with our time, and then the shift into entrepreneur from employee. And this is still, even if we have a job and we work our practices part-time, it's still the same transition where you start to just analyze how this could work for you. Like, okay, given what's going on, this could work for me if X, Y, and Z. Or, yeah, based on what just happened, I need this to work for me because my time is just more valuable now. I too care for my grandparents, and that's becoming more of a responsibility. And it's just you taking it all in. This environment, right? The pandemic creating so many tests for people. I got so inspired today because I got a message that I had been waiting on. Like, thank you, Father, because I didn't know what to do. And he sent me the message. He sent me the answer, and it just inspired me even more because I was having a down day, down week. Like, I don't know about this business. I don't know. Like, maybe I should just go get a job. And again, it happens all the time, even in our journeys, no matter how far in we are. And I got what I needed to inspire me to just, nope, stay focused, focus on the vision, and move forward with it. Because change is our friend. It can be negative or positive. But when you are intentional about creating the positive changes you want to see in your life, which no one else has to understand. And I had a call with someone recently that was like, I'm shifting and no one really gets it. No one around me really gets why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's how it is. And so you'll get the naysayers, you'll get the people who don't understand. You'll get the people who tell you it's not going to work. And you just got to keep pushing forward. So I'm really glad to hear that, and that you're committing to the weekend to get caught up. And really, see, even that, it's like, oh, sorry, I'm like sitting in Indian style. um, Everything in divine order. So don't feel like you're behind. You've got lifetime access to this material. And so, Delicia is here. She's tapping in, and she was a part of the training 2 years ago. You have access to it. And I think I have to double check, but I think I built in a catch up week. So ultimately, you will have that time to not feel overwhelmed. And that's another thing that, whether you realize it or not, I'm somewhat implementing a training within us, which is operate in your pace, operate in your timing, um, set the goals and do your best to stick to them. But as you're going through this material, you're already transitioning into the entrepreneur you say you are. And that's because you're taking time out of an already packed schedule, busy week, commitments to devote a little bit of time. Now it's 1 hour a week towards your practice. So you've already begun that journey. And so from here, it's just going to be more of the organizing, the more of the time management. I paid a coach to tell me I should do 90 minutes of business development every day. I'm still striving to get there. And so just remember, you got lifetime access. You're never behind, everything in divine order. Commit to one thing so we don't overwhelm ourselves. And I love this concept of the 30-minute concept, where I choose to do things in 30-minute blocks. So if I can say, okay, I can get one thing done in 30 minutes, I know I can get one thing done in 30 minutes, whether it's reading, reviewing, responding to emails, whatever that is. So use these concepts for the training material, because it's actually going to get more and more material as you go through it. This week in particular, I have quite a few resources for you in the module. So there's a lot here, and pace yourself and don't worry about being behind. Alexandria, do you want to share out anything coming up for you?
Sure. Good morning. I just want to just put a plug in. I know that you all share about caring for your grandparents. I 100% understand how that feels. So I empathize with you all and just trying to manage so much. So I hear you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just gonna go back in time a little bit on just some of the activities, some of the things that stuck out to me. The cost of inaction. That one was a little rough. I found myself kind of stuck there of just breaking down with the 6 months. If you were inactive, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, what does that look like? And it all really stemmed from putting my whole energy into this one thing, which is my job, and that being the sole source of income. And then it just being very restraining and limiting. And it's just that was kind of like the key theme of just some of the things that I wrote down of just, no, you have a lot of information that can help other people, that you don't always have to do it for free. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I always just leaned into because I'm afraid of asking for money, or I'm afraid to charge high for that's a value thing that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
um I'm learning how to try to understand my value with a smile. I think I'm
Okay.
struggling there.
Okay.
like, yeah, I am worth this much and this is why. And guess what? It's going to be in your best benefit why it's this
Right,
way.
right.
And I think I'm not comfortable with that yet. So I'm still working towards that. Another activity that was a struggle for me was the present tense script. That was rough because I never talked to myself that way. I think it highlighted that I've never spoken to myself in that way where it's I'm doing this and then I'm here in this space and it's very and I'm learning in this present tense script. It how much I guess you could say joy it brought me,
Mm,
and how much relief it brought me, and how much in in the present it brought me, and how much I saw myself in it. I saw
yeah,
myself.
yes.
So that was I think I need to do more of those. Maybe a present tense script after every exercise, just to kind of see how that works with me. Because I need to
Okay.
see myself in that light more, opposed to a worker bee, which is
Mm,
what I am used to being in, and used to being very chief heavy in jobs and being delegated to. So it's
yeah.
very minimizing and it's very your thoughts and ideas are kind of like pressed and squashed or put to the side. And I'm finding that in the present tense script, this is where they live. They can live here.
Mm,
So that
that's
was one.
powerful.
I am not confident in the marketing area. And I think that's because of the value piece.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
that was section 3 of the your perfect coaching practice in the yeah, section 3 marketing. I'm not
Hmm.
strong there. Then we went into the profit exercise. When I
Yes.
came out to what the hourly rate was, I
Hmm.
said no, that's not right.
What was your
And
number? Please
my
tell
number
me
was
your number.
50. My number was 50.
Okay.
My number was 50. And I said, that's absolutely incorrect. So we're going to have to figure that out because that
Yes.
I started to get mad at that number because
Sorry.
I started to instantly get PTSD flashbacks of, wait a minute, I was in this training and this training and this training, and I've gotten this certificate and I've
Yep.
done this work. And I said, oh no, we got to add an extra like $40 to that because that's not right. That's not right. But I think it spoke to when I see that hourly rate, it spoke to that the world of one income
Mm,
of I'm going to tell you how much you're worth and you have nothing to do about it
yeah.
kind of thing. And
Hmm.
that's where the possibly that present script that present script person was like, no, like that's not right. I've done so many things I've
Mm,
that number doesn't equate to what it is that I've done. So I have to bump that up in a way where it's sitting well with me and the present script me. Um, so that's one activity. I've
mm.
also started to think about services. I
Yes.
started to think about, okay, I could do a lot of different things, but we're not here to do all a laundry list of things. We're here to really narrow in and zero in and have a foundation, have a service that's built off of a foundation. That's for me. And then that's when I started to think about on our call, when I started to think about the pillars, the standards. And I think once I start to determine what my standards are for my business, I think then it'll bring some clarity to the services that I'm able to provide to people and the security that it'll bring in in the activities and the resources in my presence. There'll be a sense of self within that. And I think the standards, and that's why I was asking them about, standard building, like what does that look like? And I'm trying to really refrain from my job as a reference. Well, what are their standards? Well, I can't worry about what their standards are because I was created by somebody else who I'm serving. So
Right.
um what do standards mean to me? How do I want someone to walk away? Do I want them to walk away feeling respected? I want them to walk away feeling that they have that they can see themselves in finances finally, and not the
Mm-hmm.
other finances dictating them.
Yep.
So I'm starting to I'm researching. My goal is to research a little bit more around standard building, objectives, and mission statements. I think that's going to really segue into the mission statement space. And um, and then I started to think about goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about that a lot in my job too. And it's just the disconnect between goals and people. I started to think about that. I started to think about, it's it's easy to just, what are your goals, but what if someone never encountered a goal before, or maybe they have but they didn't realize they have. So I kind of wanted to stay in that land of, if I were to ask someone to goal set, maybe that's overwhelming for them. What if
Right.
they actually goal set, but they're doing something, they categorize it in a different way? So how can I tap into what they know
They do. Mm-hmm.
and then blend it into the world that I'm trying to introduce them to?
Right.
So I don't
That's
know.
what
I
we
was just
call
kind of
meeting
stuck
your
there.
client where they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things that popped up for me: services, present tense script, marketing, that hourly wage piece, and a bunch of, yeah.
Well, this is so good. Thank you. I mean, I know you've been diving in, so
Hmm.
I expect you to be all in it, and you are.
Yeah.
And this is so good. You bring up a few things. And again, let me remind you that these calls, our weekly live coaching calls, are for you to talk this out. This is your safe space. It's a space for me to also recap and then give you some idea of what's coming for this week,
Hmm.
but also for you to ask the questions, bounce things off of each other, and put it out there. So I'm so happy that you did share out about how you're responding to everything that's happening, and again, Carl, from your perspective, very good, because this isn't going to change. Like, life is going to keep going. Everything is going to still happen with the job. You could probably predict what's going to happen with the job. You know what I'm saying? It's now you're throwing something new into the pot, into the mix, and everything in divine order. It's going to be so life changing from here if you stay disciplined. So what I'm hearing, that present tense script, that perfect coaching practice worksheet, it's helpful because it does help you to start seeing yourself in the work that you're doing, whether it's not just a goal or like an idea. It's like, I'm in it. I see myself working. I see myself at a desk. I see myself working with people or people coming into my office. You really place yourself in your vision. So I'm so happy you mentioned that. And then, as you said, it gave you joy and relief. Now that I'm like, thank you, Father, that I can't pay for that kind of a feedback. Because it does. This is how we make money and what we do are different. And I know for so many years I felt conditioned and trained to think that what I do is who I am. Because it starts to be that, jobs consume us 5 days a week. It's only 7 days in a week. So when you think about where you're spending your time, I was spending a third of my day. There's 24 hours in a day. You work for 8 hours. That's a third of your day doing and being in our training. So it would always come up for me that, you know, I'm a certain way. Well, I spend 8 hours of my day being that, and then when it's time to shift to being mommy or shift to being at home with the family, that requires effort and shifting. And then it helped me to see I am not what I do for those 8 hours. And more importantly, I am who I say I am. And so when we're starting to put together what this vision of our practices is going to look like, how we want people to feel. I mean, I remember talking to my graphic designer, like, I know what I want people to feel when they come to my website. I'm not the expert on building it, but I know how I want people to feel. This goes towards your values, right? How do you want people to experience what you have to offer? And it's not all of who you are. It's a portion of who you are in your gift, in your talent, in your skill that will attract money. And as a woman of faith, I can't help but to bring that in because I know that everything I do is not of me. So this values piece, this worth piece, when you start to get to that space of like, all right, well, how do I make this work from the numbers? What do I need to be charging to make minimum replace my job income? What is that number, and am I okay with that number? So I'm so happy when you said, oh no, I got to add to that 50. Like, absolutely. And you can, and that's what I call your premium. You get the hourly rate, and then you're like, okay, that don't represent me. I need to add 100 more to that. My hourly rate is 255, and it's probably about to go up to 300 now, because that's how I value my time. I value every hour of my day at about $300 an hour. But think about lawyers, right? And think about what they do. 800, 900, and people pay. Why? Because they have something that person wants. We have something that our clients need. And there is a balance, and you'll eventually get to it. You'll change the pricing, you'll up the pricing, decrease the pricing. I've been all over with my pricing up until now. I mean, this year I tested out something at $500. I sold it 5 times, which was enough for me to realize, okay, I could sell it for 5. Let me see if I could sell it for 1,000. I doubled it. I sold it for 1,000. Okay, let me see if I can sell it for 2,000. I sold it for 2,000. So now that service is now 2,000. But I started at 500. And I had to build my own confidence. I had to get my own worth around what I was doing. So it's always a process, and you control it. That's the beauty of it. You control it. So everyone doesn't have to understand what you do and why. And I'm so glad you mentioned the standards, mission and vision. I'm going to hop to that right now, because that's what you're going to encounter this week. You're going to encounter the mission and vision for your practice. And let me tell you how real this is. It's so real. And when I say I'm going through what you guys are going through, I am. So I'm having my website redone, and I have to confirm with my designer what my layouts are going to be. So we call that confirmation. He's like, give me confirmation that, we're going to have 6 points here and a picture here and the call to action here. So the layout of every page. And when I got to the page around my values, I realized, well, one, whenever you're doing something like a website, which is basically our store in the online space, treat it like a store. Treat it just like if it were a storefront. If someone walked in, what is their experience going to be? And your website should sell. But it's also a helpful exercise around your business plan. So I found myself really going back to my business plan to say, well, what are my values? I know what they've been, but here's an opportunity for me to be fresh and new, because I'm having a website with new stuff on it. So are my values the same? So then I started asking myself, well, how do you figure out your values? Well, I started with where I was. And you can't see it. Let's see. In 2013, I had created some values using a values deck. This is a values deck. It's like cards with different values on them. And you go through the deck, you choose a value, you narrow it down to like 15, then you do 10, then you do 6. And it's so tough because you're like, well, I believe in all these things, but I only got to choose 5. Let me do 5. So it's a whittling down effect. But what it does is it focuses you. It forces you to really think about what you stand for. And as I got some inspiration this morning, our personal values will inevitably impact our businesses because it's an extension of us. So this is where you get to be personal. This is where you get to do all the things your job don't let you do. My personal values were wealth, honesty, health, spirituality, leadership in 2013. I'm like, actually, those are my values right now. But I'm also coming into more for my business. And it is a real thing because they will guide what you do and how you do it with your people. And so in today's module, what to sell in your financial coaching practice, this is where you're actually going to start diving in to those offers, the services. What are you going to help people to do? How are you going to create transformation? How are you going to create your results? What is the system by which you use to get results? You know, what does a coaching session look like with you? And so you'll have tons of resources. And this is what I wanted to go to. Let's see. I'm going to show you one of the documents because this section touches on everything you brought up. In this one, what value do you add? Now, this was so helpful because we tend to doubt ourselves. We tend to not charge what we're worth. We tend to get anxiety around charging people who we think don't have money, but we know they need what we have. Or we charge them, but we really undersell ourselves. So this exercise is meant to help you start thinking about the value you add so that you have readily available in your subconscious mind why you deserve everything you ask for, why you charge what you charge. As you started off saying, Alexandria, I done attended this training, that training, got this certificate, listen to that person speak year after year at the conference. Okay, why isn't that showing up in our pricing? Why aren't we charging people for the experiences that we had that they will never have? They will never invest in a personal finance program. So they come to us who has invested, who is in the industry, who has dedicated our career to learning and being experts in what we do. They've got to pay for that because we're creating a shortcut for them. We're creating an accelerated benefit and result. Otherwise, go do it yourself. But we know people don't do that. So we've got to stand firm, and this is where our confidence grows. This exercise, why are you qualified to do what you do? And this gets really added from the fear to the doubt to just not knowing. Well, these questions are going to help you. What awards have you won? What other forms of recognition have you had? Did you get a congressional medal or certificate, or did the mayor, send you a certificate for volunteering? I know I worked with veterans, and so you do something with the veterans, you might get the mayor send you a certificate. Like, you get recognition, your credentials, your licenses. Did you pass that Series 65? That's a big deal. Who out here passing Series 65s and 66 and getting Series 7 license and knowing how to place a trade? Who knows how to do that? Okay, then you think about promotions. You just mentioned, Carl, office is moving, I'm managing people, okay, that's a skill set. That is a qualification. As nominal as it might be, they're relying on you to manage that process for them. That's what you're getting paid to do things for other people. Why? Because they value it. Okay, so let's dive into what that means. I know at one point I asked some coaches that I was training, how many clients have you worked with? And they're like, 100, 85. Do you know how powerful that is? Like, we can't take none of these numbers for granted. I could take that number and build out a case study from it. I could tell you, after serving 85 people, one year I think I served 120 private 101 clients. That's 120 hours because every session is an hour, right? So when we talk about, which you just recently did, the workable hours, the billable hours, we could fill it up. The calendars are full. And I'll go back to that in a second. But think about that. You serve 120 people, 85 people, 50 people in a year. That's 50 hours that you've dedicated to talking to people just off the bat. Who else is doing that? Is your client doing that? No, they're not talking to themselves through their financial situations. Don't take anything you've done for granted. It's sellable. Think about why you're being paid right now. They are paying you for a skill set. So if they can pay you for that skill set, you don't think their competitor won't pay you for that skill set? You don't think a consulting firm won't pay you for that skill set? A nonprofit? Like, that's how we start to see who we can serve. Our clients aren't just one-on-one people. They're the organizations that serve the one-on-one people, because we have a skill set that people are already paying you for. Look at your job description, and from that description, if you can find it, highlight what you like about it. And if that's something you want to transfer to your practice. And if not, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing. It's so relieving. It's so autonomous. It's liberating, because you start to see, to your point, Alexandria, how limited you were, how suppressed, like a whole set of your skills that you're not even utilizing. And that's where the business comes in, because now you get to use it and serve with it the people who you're meant to serve, which very well may not be the people you serve in your business. And to me, that's dissonance. It's dissonance to be one person knowing you could do more, but feeling stuck in what you're already doing for whatever reason, whether it's the money, the job, the commitment, the responsibility, the loyalty, whatever that is. And so it creates dissonance with us. Like, I know I got to do more. I know I'm meant to do something beyond this. Now we're breaking through and figuring out what that is. But it's these questions, is this kind of exercise that'll always remind you why you're qualified to charge $375 for one session, why you're qualified to offer a $2,000 program for 3 months. That's what I do. $375 was one session, and I don't do one-offs because I don't believe that they work. And I just don't want to have you see me one time and then I don't ever see you again. So I never do one-off sessions. Even when I did, you were required to come back. So there was a 2-session minimum, because I needed to know you carry my results. So you get to design this however you want. But the first part is building up your own confidence about what you're doing. And so here we talk about the problems you solve, the needs that you meet, because every business solves a problem. Every single business solves a problem. And again, everything in divine order. This pandemic is such a blessing for people who don't even realize it. And this is where my inspiration came in today, because I'm starting to shift in my business as to what I want to promote. I'm a financial services firm, but I don't want to promote budgeting and debt and credit. I can, but I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. I'm graduating to human capital development, because I believe human capital development for me is where our wealth comes from. So if I can help someone tap into their innate skill set, their God-given talents and strengths, and help them see how they can monetize that, like in this environment, why are we waiting for people to give us jobs? Half of these jobs ain't coming back anyway. But who's telling people that? And then who's giving them the skill set to really start to dig into who they are so they can sell it and make money from it? Well, that's where I think I'm going to be. So my problems and the problems I'm solving really have to do with people believing in themselves. But I'm still a financial services firm, and that's the angle I choose to take moving forward, because I'm feeling more attracted to that part. The passion comes in there. So when you think about your services and your offers, you can think about the traditional stuff, but really go deep into what problem are you solving for that ideal client? And we'll talk more about the ideal client coming up, how you identify them, how you know who they are. But when I can work with someone who I know without a benefit of a doubt that if I don't give them this information, they may not ever get it, then that's a space for you to be in and blow it out the park. One mistake I made, and I still make, so I have to hone in on this, is spreading myself too thin. We all do it, right? But when we do it, I think it's motivated by this idea that we have to do everything now. And I started to realize, okay, I don't have to solve every problem my client has now. And more importantly, if we think along relationship building, it's actually in our benefit as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, not to do that, because now they have a reason to come back to us. The life cycle of our client is built within what we offer them. So if we give them everything up front, why would they come back? And you know, most people, once they feel like they have what they need, and there's money involved in paying for it, and our clients aren't trained to pay for what we offer. So we have to educate around the value of our services and all of that. So when you think about that, that's the cost of acquiring a client. Sometimes it's monetizable and we can quantify it. Like, how much does it cost for you to get one client? Well, you might have to educate that client. You might have to place an ad to get in front of that client. You might have to do things. But once you get in front of them, hit them with that pressing offer. What problem are you going to solve that right away when they leave your office, they're going to feel better? And then build out the program around that one thing. So now they can come back to you for what you know they're going to need next. So yes, you need a budget. You need the behavior of budgeting. You need to understand how budgeting applies to your numbers, and you need debt and credit. However, if I give you debt and credit, are you really going to do everything? Maybe not. So let me focus on that one and then come back with the debt. Okay, now that you've got your budget in order, let's see what you can afford to put towards your debt and build out your debt reduction strategy. Now they have another reason to come back. Now you have another reason to reach out, and you take them down your process. So what if you don't have a process? I've got you covered. We're going to come back to mission and vision. Your 10-step process or system for how you get results. I had to realize that I was doing the same thing with every client. Client comes in, intake form or some kind of assessment, right? Introduction of who I am, what I do, how I do, why are you here, how can I help you, figure out what the problem is, come up with a strategy. That's one process right there, just for like getting the client in your office. Once they're there, what do you talk to them about? Okay, I know you're here for budgeting. Here's how I help clients budget. We do an assessment of your numbers. We take a look at behavior. We da 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 da. Okay, that's a step-by-step process. You need to codify that. And again, as entrepreneurs, businesses run on systems. So I want you to start thinking about the systems you're already using. I mean, we have a system for checking email, right? We operate our daily lives on systems. One system is getting up out of the bed, brushing our teeth, washing our face. We do it every single day. That's a system. We are run on systems. Our businesses will run on system. The job you have is run on a system. Why is that important? One, it's important because it helps your client understand, oh, you're going to take me from A to Z. Yes. And now they know what it looks like because there's steps. People love steps, right? 10-step, 3-step, 5-step. People love steps. It's organizing the results for them. So when you sit down with someone and you want to help them get from where they are to where you know they can be, what are your steps? And if they follow those steps to the T, what result can you guarantee them? And that's what you sell. I have a 10-step system. If you do this, I know for a fact, this is the result you'll get. Okay, if you do this in this step, this is the result you'll get. Now, here's the beauty. That 10 steps can be broken down into modules, into seasons of when you offer it. You don't have to offer it all at one time. And you could break it down into programs. So, oh, I have this program, I have that, I have 10 programs. I have 10 modules, and you buy one at a time. Or we engage one at a time. When you see your system, now you get to be creative on how you deploy it. You might bundle it for a 5-day boot camp and We cover the first 5 steps of my system in this 5-day boot camp. That's great. Now you can just sell it and make a few dollars, based off of a small group of people. And if they want more, now you sign up with me for the one-on-one to get the other 5 steps. Now that person is in your funnel, they're in your life cycle, they've purchased once and you can pitch them again. So systems are important for how we deploy what we're offering. But if you don't know what you're offering, this is where you get clear. And you already have this information. Now, if the work you're doing is going to be in your job is different than the work you want to do in your practice, this is also helpful to get your mind going around what it's truly going to be. Like, this is a system I use in my job, but if I could do it like this would be the system I'd offer. Great. That's why you're here, to figure out your way of doing things versus the way that you've been doing it with your current clients. So this exercise is going to be very helpful. And I want to say, let me see, that it will, yes, I give you space to really write things out and to refine it. Because you'll start with a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning. I want you to get it all out, and then you will refine it and say, okay, how can I bundle that into one step? How can I bundle that into another step? How can I bundle that into a third step? And then you'll refine it again and say, okay, here's my 10 step. And guess what? You'll test it. So you might offer it for 30 days, for 60 days, for 90 days. See how you feel. That's what I did with the offer that I did last year. I
Something
offered,
came
oh,
up.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Something came up as you were talking.
Yeah, go for it.
Because you're explaining around, just bundling services. Would you recommend possibly doing, before getting to the 10 steps piece and just really organizing and categorizing what things may look like, do you suggest doing a brain dump of what is it that you have to offer, period?
Yep, that's what you
Because
would do here.
okay, so that's already embedded into this section. Okay.
Yep.
Because
Use this
that's where
space
I
to write out
am.
in detail. How you get results. What's the process? Because
Okay.
really what you want to identify are your results, right? People are buying transformation from us. They're not really buying a budget. They're not buying a debt reduction strategy. They're buying being out of debt. It's almost like the difference between a benefit and a feature, right? We tend to market the features. You're going to get 12 modules. You're going to get weekly live. You're going to get, 58 hours of video content. Those are features. What are my benefits? Benefits are, what can I now do with, what am I going to be able to do now that I had that? I've had 58 hours of video content. What is that going to do for me? What's the benefit? Oh, well, now I'm going to be able to set up my own business and get my business registered in my state. Oh, that's a benefit. I want to be able to do that. I'm going to be able to develop my system. So your results, this process of that brain dump that you mentioned, you're going to start seeing, okay, these are all the things I can offer. These are the results that I can get. What are the benefits to my client if they got this result? They can go on vacation more. They can reach their savings goals. They can start investing. They can protect their family if something happened to them. Now we might say, okay, well, yeah, let's just sell them insurance. Right. That's what we're doing. It's a transaction. However, what's the benefit of them having insurance? Peace of mind, protection in the event that they're no longer here, their family's taken care of. Sell the benefit. So how do you get that result for them? Well, I do an asset inventory. I do a needs analysis. Okay, so now you're developing your process by which you help this person get to the point where they say, I need insurance. And so this is that time and space for you to do that. And this is the document in particular. And then this one. So 13 ways to increase your income using your expertise and experience and education. I've come upon 13 ways to create income in our businesses. A book. So again, if you've written out all your results and We know one-on-one work. It's only so many people you can reach. If someone can't work with you, how else can they get your solutions? How else can they get your results? Put it in a book. Put the book up on Amazon. Put the book up on your website. Now you've got a few things. You're able to reach people who you might not reach otherwise. 2, books are content. Content is a monetizable asset. That asset would be royalties. Royalties are paid for life. So you're creating a stream of income personally for yourself that you'll get paid for life. My book, Master My Money, which I believe is somewhere here. I just got a notice from Amazon. Every month, I get a notice from Amazon that they're going to pay me some money because I sold a book. I'm not marketing this. People find it, but if I chose to market it, guess what? I'm putting more energy behind it. It's a stream of income. It's passive for the most part. One and done. You write it, you're done. I don't have to do anything else. A book, it's necessary. Let me plug in. Oh, what did I do? Okay. Speaking. Once you have a book, now that's a speaking tool. You get called for gigs and you could position yourself, because even if the gig is free, they're not going to pay you to speak. Always negotiate. I want to be able to sell my book. Now you've turned a free speaking gig into a paid gig because you know you're going to make some money. Coaching, what we know to do. Consulting, what we know to do. Webinars. In this environment, look at how valuable that is, where everybody's getting clued into a webinar. It's the way of the world now. It's how we learn. You can charge for that. Webinar series, a boot camp. And then your programs. Okay, I have a 3-month program. I have a 6-month program. Challenges. I have a challenge right now. It's a 20-day financial reset challenge. I offer it for free, but it's going to be on my website to be able to purchase it. However, if you join the challenge, you're joining for free. But if you just find it, you're going to pay for it. Products. I mean, I have a mug that I sell, but I don't promote it. But I have a mug. I'm going to have some t-shirts. I might have a planner. Create products for your business, because your clients will represent you. And then people will see, oh, what's that? People start asking. And then also like budgeting journals, personal money diaries, anything that's related to your business. I'll show you. I'll tell you, I practice what I preach. I set up an account at Uline. I bought these boxes. And so now I'm like, what am I going to put in the box? I want to create some kind of a Master My Money kit. So I don't know when I'm going to offer it or what, but I think it's going to be a calculator. It's going to be one of like a custom piece of marketing material that I create, maybe a pen and a personal money diary. Maybe I'll charge $25 for it. But now I've created a product that makes sense for my clients. They're going to need a calculator. They're going to need a pen. They're going to need something to track in. So it's like a tracker. You can get so creative. And then if we ever get back to in-person things, you can sell these. So you can get so creative with what products make sense for your offers. And then conferences, do a 1-day conference on just that one thing. I mean, Alexandria, I know you want to bring value. You want to help people understand what their values are around money. That's a 1-day conference, half day, come explore your relationship with money, and then have another expert and bam, charge for the tickets, Eventbrite or PayPal, like all of the systems are there. So you can do that. Teleconferences, same thing. Zooms now. Zoom is so popular. And then live events, whatever that might look like in our environment. Retreats. I've been wanting to do a money retreat. I think it's coming closer and closer, but I always wanted to get a nice mansion in Palm Springs, 5 bedrooms in particular, or maybe 6, and invite VIP clients to do like a 3-day complete money makeover with me. And they come and I do my thing, and afterwards they're going to leave with everything they need to be set and hit their goals. But that's a very private, intimate experience for someone who's just ready to get it all in. Like, I can't do no 12-week program. I need 3 days with you and you get me right. That's a retreat. And then create partnerships and do one of the things from above. Like, I could partner with Carl. I could partner with Alexandria. I could partner with Delicia. And now we've got something to offer to both of our audiences that might be complementary. Especially in this age, it's like do lives and partner together, interview another professional, interview, like there's so many ways that you can get creative with how you reach your people. And what I want you to remember is that this is really marketing. This is when you offer whatever you offer, you've got to market it. That's a part of how we get the client. So really, our services and our offers become marketing tools in of themselves. And if you focus on one at a time, hit your goal with it. Okay, I want to do, I want to create a 10 things to avoid list with your money. And I want 75 people to download it. That's a goal around an offer. Now, are you going to charge for it or is it going to be free? Is it going to be free for the first 50 people? Like, you get to control how you do that. But from a content creation perspective, it's an offer. People have to say yes to it. You've got a goal around it. And what is that going to do for your business? Now you got 75 more people paying attention to whatever else you're going to offer them next. So every little thing we do, even in crafting these offers, thinking about our income streams, it's really marketing our business. And always remember, spend more time marketing what you create than you did creating it. I wish someone had told me that, because I would spend so much time making the perfect offer. Oh, this is going to be so good. And again, nobody bought it because they didn't know about it, because I didn't put that much into marketing it. And then that's when our value comes in, our worth, because sometimes we don't market because we're not ready to put ourselves out there. What if nobody buys it? So I'm not going to put it out. How much sense that make? What if nobody buys it? So I'm not going to put it out. That's that fear. That's that doubt. Goes right back to, the systems that we are building. When I encounter that, what's my system to dissect it? Because I know that's head trash. That's not real. That's fear. False evidence against reality. False evidence against reality, the acronym for fear. You made it up in your mind. It hasn't even happened yet. So here we are worried about who's going to buy when we don't even have evidence to suggest that no one is going to buy. Just made it up in our heads. And that will always be the case as an entrepreneur. So this section is all about building your confidence to know that you're worth it, you can do it, how you should do it, what it should look like, the different types that you can, the different ways that you could position your offer. And really, let's go back now to the mission and vision. And this is where I think you'll spend some time really understanding everything else. The vision of your business should be a statement that creates a synergy between what you want to do in your practice and what you want to leave a mark on. So your practice is just a vehicle in the whole what's my purpose in life conversation. And you may not even retire from this practice. This might be something that you do for the next 5 years. I don't know. We all have our own journeys. But when you think about it being around, it being something that was here on earth, my practice, what impact is it going to have? And I remember driving down Rodeo in Beverly Hills, And there was a financial services firm, and it said like established since 1857 or something like that. And I thought to myself, wow, in 1857, did he really think that he'd be around in 2000 something? Like, you don't think about that. You just start and you do what you say you want to do. But here that building is, I mean, the building might not be there, but whoever was running the practice and family, generational, whatever, but established since. That's what we got to think. Established since. And if it's 100 years from your established date, what is the impact that your practice will have had? For me, my vision, to live in a world where every Black woman leader, professional, and entrepreneur has a net worth of at least $100,000 so that she could take advantage of any opportunity to serve herself, her family, her community. That has been my vision. How I get there, that's the mission. Oh, I'm going to serve 100 women a year. I'm going to create savings of $10,000 a year for Black women. How I'm going to do that, I don't know. I'll partner with some organizations, but that's how you then begin to know what to do in your practice. Your vision is what you set your eyes on. Your mission is how you get to the vision. Within the mission, this is where you start to say, okay, well, if I want to accomplish that mission, I'm going to have to work with X amount of clients. I'm going to have to get this amount of results. And then that's going to push me to being able to say, well, I worked with 10 Black women this year and I helped all 10 of them grow their net worth to $100,000. So now I'm fulfilling my vision. Think about that for your practice. What is that ultimate impact you want to have? If somebody were to Google you 100 years from now, did you accomplish that vision? I want to impact the world in this way. And then that mission is going to be the how. And from there, that's where you figure out your activities. And that's how you know what's for you and what's not for you. Because sometimes you'll get opportunities and you're like, yes, I want to do this. But wait, does that align with my mission? Does this job, like I had to think, a former employer asked me to take on a project. I would have been a W-2 employee again. Thought I wanted to do that. And I said, well, does this help me reach Black women? It's like, no, actually it doesn't. Great job. I would have had a paycheck. I negotiated a great rate. Why wouldn't you take that, Dominique? Because it doesn't align with my vision. So now I'm distracting myself from the work that I need to be doing. Everything is not for you, even though it comes to you. So vision helps us stay focused. It tells us how we should be spending our energy. Like Carl, you said, I'm going to commit to getting caught up this weekend. That's perfect. So now you know this weekend, your time is going to be spent working on your business. So if somebody were to come and say, hey, Carl, can you hop on this live or hop on this webinar? Not this week, because I'm committed to this. And does that help me get to where I'm trying to get to? No. Would it be nice? Yes. Is it a good gesture? Yeah. All of the good stuff, but it's just not for me because I've already committed to something else that if I do it, it's going to further what I got going on. So this is where it gets lonely in the journey because everybody don't, oh, you don't do that. You, every time I call, you're not available. I'm focused right now. It's 24 hours in a day. My vision is at stake. So I got to show up. And that's what this is about. It's about giving you the tools to show up. It's giving you the tools to believe in yourself. This mission and vision is going to drive your activities. So engage the content. It's a lot, as I said, it's a lot here in this module. Pace yourself through it. You've got every tool you need, and schedule your one of your business coaching sessions. So you get 2 30-minute sessions and you can use them however you want. They're safe spaces to talk it out, talk strategy, ask questions, whatever you need to do, calculate numbers, whatever you need, you could use that session for it. And you've got 2 of them. So you'll find that information, I want to say, in the lack of support section. Let me just pull it up real quick. And then, yeah, use the course to, yeah, here it is. So right in lack of support, you can schedule that. And then, of course, make your comments right here in the course. I'll respond. As you can see, I responded to Alexandria. So you've got several ways. You've got the WhatsApp, you've got the course, you've got email, and then you've got your coaching session. So that's it. What questions are coming up? Any last things before we hop off? How was this for you?
No, this was great. It kind of reinforces, I think, day one when we first got started, and being away, not being able to participate on the other call, it was, how can I put this? There was a void I felt, because this is something that is important to me, and I think the things that are important to you, you really want to see through to fruition.
Right,
And a part of that is discipline. A part of that is just making sure that you don't have the distractions, as you alluded to earlier. And some distractions are unavoidable.
right,
Some are self-inflicted.
right.
So thank you. This was great. The detail, the personal experiences that you share. These are the things that help people like me and all the others who've gone through your training connect on a personal level, in
Mhm.
their own way, to a strategy and a vision that they can create. So it's all good. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Father. That's the point. All right. Well, that affirms me. And of course, I'm here. I'll probably start some engagement in the WhatsApp just to check in and see what's going on with people in there as well. Delicia, anything from you before we hop off?
Yes. I just want to know if I get a coaching session too.
I do have an offer for you. It's not the same one though.
All right. We'll
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, you guys have a great weekend. We'll be in touch. There's plenty of work to do. I'm in it with you. Like I said, I'm trying to get this website populated, so I got to think about my values and stuff as well. So this module is helpful to me. Any questions, just reach out. Have a great week.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
nice.
Peace.